Let's talk about UK assets then, as we face what could be an incredibly intense period of negotiation on many fronts. The latter part of next year and the first quarter of 2019, that must loom large on any owner of UK assets or FX specialists.
But I think the first part of this whole series was the vote and how the UK economy would react, and it's been very resilient and it's been extremely positive. So I think the fear of very harsh negotiations and punitive reactions, I think has really come down in the eyes of most people, and that's why we're not seeing a significant reaction in the sterling, even though May is about to trigger Article 50. I think there's a calm in the market that the outcome, even in a hard scenario, is not going to be extremely negative for the UK.
Is it that we don't think there'll be a very tough negotiation ahead, is it that we just the markets have accepted that it could be of a hard nature and gone with that?
I think the middle ground is basically that it's going to be a balanced negotiation. It's not going to be hard. There's just too much to lose on both sides and too much of a gamble. And you also add in that Europe is facing this anti-EU sort of environment and really does not want to stress that more, I think, is also important to point out.
I applaud your optimism. I really do. I hope that we do have the outcome that you suggest. Have a look at this. This is euro sterling, and the question from an FX perspective: there's going to be many bumps and humps through this. And the harder the Brexit, I put it to you, you're deluded.
I've heard that before. I've heard it before. It's not
no. But the point about it is we don't know what the next 2 years negotiate, but it's going to be hard ball.
Absolutely, but
so what my delusion is that there's not much distance between here and parity, really, is there?
Right. Well, here's the thing. I don't think we've seen the sell-off in Europe just yet. I mean, we're coming to the Dutch elections. We're coming to the French elections. I mean, there's so much political risk. And the problem with Europe...
Is that what saves sterling from my point, which is I think that's a delusion? Yes.
Completely. And that's why, the euro dollar, this is where it is. There's a weight on the euro right now, which is political risk. And the way that Europe is set up right now is that if one of these countries falls into the hands of the anti-EU sentiment, the game set match point. It's difficult to imagine France going into Le Pen's hands and trading at euro dollar at parity, euro sterling at parity, or euro dollar at 105 and much longer. So I think it's really the strong weight of the political risk on the euro.
Just as we're talking, I don't know what we did, Peter, but just as we're talking, a 0.4% move in the pound against the dollar. The pound dropping against the dollar and indeed against the euro, so down 0.4% against the pound.
Come on, you're killing me here.
121.
Delusion word.
But you're
it is dropping.
This is why I'm an analyst, not a trader, right?
Yes, and your analysis leads you to call long sterling the best long-term currency trade of 2017. Give us more thought on why that's the case.
We think, number one, the
you might turn it around. There's still time.
Come on, someone.
It's continuing.
Buy sterling. Am I allowed to say that on? No, I mean, look at the inflation outlook in the UK. We're going to hear Carney come out and really focus on the fact that inflation is high. That's going to keep the expectations for the BOE somewhat resilient. We think that the trade negotiations between Europe and Britain are going to continue to do well and not be this punitive negotiations. And finally, we think the risk in the euro will send capital back into the UK.
In terms of how to position yourself, whether for a bright and easy future as opposed to my version of a tough
decision. If you were on
this is vol.
Yes, exactly. I mean, if you were correct, I think vol would be significantly
That's why I'm
higher.
a journalist, not a trader.
Okay,
sorry, go on.
No traders around.
No traders on the
this risk of a hard Brexit, I think, would be priced into vol significantly more than where we are right now. Here we are on the cusp of Article 50 being triggered, and vol is barely getting up there. I think a lot has to do with monetary policy, backstopping risk globally, but also I think it's the expectations. Now, myself and the rest of the market may be completely naive, and as Manus was very clear to point out, but I do believe this is the outcome that
I'm not going to live this down now, am I? All I did was challenge a thought.